Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Rory OBH, Dorit and PK Kemsley's son hospitalized amid split. Dorit and PK Kemsley recently shared an update about their son Jagger. The Rory OBH star's son was hospitalized, but appears to be on the mend. Some people are wondering how the couple handled the medical emergency amid their split. Here's what they had to say. PK Kemsley took to Instagram this week to share an update about his son. Apparently, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star's 10-year-old son was hospitalized. While he did not disclose what was wrong with him, he did reveal that he and Dorit Kemsley have been by Jagger's side. Our little boy Jagger has been unwell for the last few weeks, the RHOB star shared on Instagram on Tuesday. Mommy and Daddy have been with him. He also thanked all of the nurses and doctors who took care of his son while he was ill. We are still here, but he's praying emoji on the mend. He's our Rocky. Image was caught of him yawning, but I love the shot, he concluded the post. Several people took to the comment section to express their well wishes for young Jagger. The worst feeling in the world, when your child is unwell. I'm so sorry and sending tons of love and healing prayers, one person wrote. Another commented, oh gosh, sending love and healing vibes. A third commenter chimed in, get well Jagger, sending huge love. This was PK's first post in a couple of weeks, so it's assumed that both RHOB stars have been focused on their child's wellness. The update about Jagger's health comes about 5 months after PK and Dorit Kemsley publicly announced their split. They made the decision to separate after 9 years of marriage. The RHOB stars announced the separation in a joint Instagram post in May. We as a couple have been subject to a lot of speculation about our marriage, they wrote. We have had our struggles over the last few years and continue to work through them as two people who love each other and share 2 amazing children together. While they have announced their separation, neither PK nor Dorit have filed for divorce yet. For now, they have remained focused on handling things in their relationship in a way that benefits both of their children. In addition to 10-year-old Jagger, the couple also shares an 8-year-old daughter Phoenix. To safeguard our deep friendship and maintain a harmonious environment for our children, we have made the mutual and difficult decision to take some time apart and reevaluate our relationship while we prioritize our children. They continue to elaborate in their announcement. We appreciate your love and support while we continue to do the work necessary throughout this journey. Dorit Kemsley sat in the waiting room of Cedars-Sinai, her eyes glazed with worry. The sterile lights overhead flickered as she anxiously glanced at her phone, hoping for a message, a call, anything that might offer some comfort in the middle of the chaos. Her manicured nails tapped nervously on the armrest, her mind spinning with everything that had gone wrong. Her son Jagger lay in a hospital bed just a few rooms away. His little body, normally so full of life and energy, was now pale and still. Dorit couldn't stop replaying the past few days in her mind, days where everything seemed to fall apart. It wasn't just Jagger's sudden illness, it was the looming collapse of her marriage to PK that made her feel like the walls were closing in. The Beverly Hills socialite had always prided herself on projecting perfection, a picture-perfect life with her stylish clothes, lavish vacations, and doting husband. But the cracks had started showing, and now they were gaping. She never imagined things could unravel like this. Just last week, they were at a charity gala, putting on a united front for the cameras. The whispers about their impending split were already swirling, but Dorit had perfected the art of smiling through it all. She and PK had managed to keep up appearances for a long time, even when their relationship was in shambles behind the scenes. But this was different. With Jagger's hospitalization, their fragile facade was crumbling. Her phone buzzed in her lap, jolting her out of her thoughts. She quickly grabbed it, seeing PK's name flash on the screen. Dorit hesitated before answering. She hadn't spoken to him since they'd both rushed to the hospital earlier that morning. Their exchanges had been brief, clipped, and filled with tension, the stress of their son's condition only magnifying the distance between them. "PK," she answered, her voice shaky. "Dorit, how is he?" PK's voice was strained, the British lilt that once charmed her now carrying the weight of worry. "He's stable for now. The doctors are running more tests," Dorit replied, her eyes welling with tears as she glanced toward Jagger's room. "They're still not sure what caused the fever to spike so high." There was a long pause on the other end of the line. Dorit could hear PK exhale heavily, his own anxiety palpable through the phone. "I'll be there soon," he finally said. Dorit nodded, though PK couldn't see her. "Okay." She hung up, placing the phone back on her lap. The silence of the hospital was deafening. She wanted to cry, scream, do something to release the tidal wave of emotions swirling inside her. But instead, she sat still, her heart heavy with the weight of everything that had gone wrong. PK had been her rock once. He was the charming, larger-than-life figure who swept her off her feet and brought her into the glamorous world of the Kemsleys. Together, they built a life that seemed too good to be true, and maybe it was. The pressures of reality television, the endless scrutiny, and the financial stress had chipped away at their marriage until they were left standing on opposite sides of an emotional divide. And now, in the middle of this personal storm, their son was sick. Jagger's illness had struck out of nowhere, high fever, fatigue, lethargy. It was terrifying to see him, usually so bright and full of life, reduced to this fragile state. The doctors had been cautiously optimistic, but Dorit's worst fears clung to her like a shadow. She couldn't lose him, she just couldn't. A nurse walked by, offering a sympathetic smile, and Dorit forced herself to smile back, though it didn't reach her eyes. She stood up, smoothing her designer blouse and walking down the hall toward Jagger's room. Through the small window in the door, she could see him lying there, his chest rising and falling in a steady rhythm, tubes and monitors surrounding him. Her heart ached. Opening the door quietly, she stepped inside and sat down beside the bed. She gently stroked his hand, her fingers trembling as they brushed against his soft skin. Jagger stirred slightly but didn't wake. "I'm here, baby," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Mummy's here." Tears slipped down her cheeks, and for the first time in days, she let herself cry. She cried for her son, for her marriage, for everything she had lost and was afraid of losing. The door creaked open, and Dorit didn't need to turn around to know it was PK. She could feel his presence before he spoke. "How is he?" PK's voice was softer now, filled with concern as he approached the bed. Dorit wiped her tears quickly, trying to compose herself. "He's sleeping. They're still running tests." PK stood beside her, looking down at Jagger with a pained expression. For a moment, it was just the two of them, united in their love for their child, the problems in their marriage fading into the background. "I hate seeing him like this," PK said quietly, his voice thick with emotion. "Me too," Dorit replied, her voice barely above a whisper. They stood in silence, the tension between them momentarily forgotten as they watched over their son. It was a rare moment of stillness in the chaos of their lives. "I've been thinking," PK began hesitantly, breaking the silence. "Maybe we need to stop pretending." Dorit stiffened, her heart racing. "What do you mean?" "I mean, we've been living in this bubble, trying to keep up appearances, but it's not working. Not for us, and certainly not for the kids. We can't keep pretending everything is fine when it's not." Dorit swallowed hard, her mind racing. She had known this conversation was coming, but it didn't make it any easier to hear. "I don't want to fight anymore, Dorit," PK continued, his voice raw with honesty. "I just want us to figure out what's best for the kids, for Jagger, for Phoenix, and for us." Dorit closed her eyes, trying to hold back the flood of emotions threatening to overwhelm her. "I don't know what that is," she admitted softly. "Neither do I," PK said. But maybe we can figure it out. For them? Dorit nodded slowly, her eyes still fixed on Jagger. For them. As they stood together, watching over their son, there was no resolution, no sudden mending of their fractured relationship. But for the first time in a long time, there was the beginning of a conversation they both knew they needed to have, for the sake of their children and themselves. And for now, that was enough.